What's up guys, Zero here with a trip report that didn't go necessarily as planned. And before I start this report, I just want to mention that the brand we did use was quercetin, which I would strongly recommend against using as it does contain chlorpheniramine inside of it. And if you don't know what that does, then I'd suggest looking up the side effects. I don't want to explain all of them right now, but let's just say that it's very dangerous. It can kill you just randomly. Like there are reports of people who have taken multiple boxes at once of this stuff, and there have been times when people have taken as little as 10 pills and then just died. So if you do decide to give this shit a try, I'd strongly recommend finding cough medicine that contains dextromethorphan as its only active ingredient. But this happened a while ago. It happened with one of my best friends. We'll call him Jacob. So me and Jacob, we were bored. We decided we wanted to give DXM a try, as he's only experienced it once before. So we decided, hey, why don't we go get some quercetin at the QFC that was by our house. So I go in and I grab a few boxes. So then we decide to walk to this one little park sort of close by to the QFC. Now we also wanted weed for the trip, but we didn't have any money, so we called up our plug and we asked if he'd front. He said yes. He said he'd meet us at this park in 2 hours. Now us being dumbasses, instead of just waiting until after the deal, we decided to take 14 of the quercetin at that moment. And of course it only takes an hour for it to kick in, so we're just sitting there just chilling at this little park bench, just kind of listening to music and shit. Then all of a sudden I start feeling really sick and I get really drowsy. I'm having a hard time trying to stay awake. I had to actually lay down on the bench, and it's still daylight out. I was like, this is pretty bad, because it was starting to get pretty noticeable that I was under the influence of something. I just felt like absolute shit physically, and I end up falling asleep on the bench for about 20 minutes. And my friend stays awake. He's still not feeling it yet, but I'm definitely feeling it. And after that 20 minutes is up, I just immediately jolt up and I just start barfing all over the ground. Jacob, he's just freaking out. He's just like, oh shit dude, are you alright? And I'm like, yeah, I just feel really sick to my stomach, and there's just this pile of red vomit on the ground. And luckily no one was around at this very moment to see that I just barfed everywhere. And at this time he has started feeling the effects coming up on him, and we decided to get up and we just walked over to the playground that was right next to where we were, and we just put our backpacks on the wood chips and we just laid there and we fell asleep. And about 45 minutes later we wake up, and I realize it's getting close to that time that we were supposed to meet our plug, but I realized that we are definitely too fucked up to meet the plug and actually go through with this whole plan of ours. So I decide to turn my phone off. We get up and there's this little forest area right next to where we were, and some people are starting to arrive to the park. It's still daylight, but the sun is starting to set at this time. So we decide, because we didn't want to be so fucked up on this playground, because we're starting to peak, we're starting to feel the effects fully now, and we decide to get up and we walk over to the little forest area, throw our backpacks against the tree. We just lay down, use our backpacks as pillows again, and again we pass out. And now we wake up later and it's completely dark out, and I just noticed that the effects of the chlorpheniramine were just way too much. Now I can't feel my body at all, and I just start freaking out because I don't know where the hell we are. I forgot we were even in that forest. And then I convinced myself that it was all a dream, so then I lay down again and close my eyes. Then I realize suddenly, oh shit, this isn't a dream, and jolt back up. Now it looks like I'm in some sort of mystical forest or some shit. It was all just out of this dreamland. I was convinced there were trolls and creatures hiding in the trees. And here's where some weird things started happening. I look up and I see this guy looking down upon me and Jacob, and he says, "You guys are goddamn idiots." And then I blinked a few times, and all of a sudden he disappears. And at that moment I'm like, whoa, because like I never had like a hallucination that looked so real from just DXM before. So I wake up my friend, I wake him up, and I'm like, "Yo, Jacob, I just saw this guy standing right over us," and he just disappeared. And Jacob was just completely out of it. He barely was able to pay attention to a word I was saying, so he just ends up passing right back out against that tree. So I decide to just lay there for a while. At this point, I'm not really able to sleep. The drowsiness is starting to wear off, and I just can't sleep for shit. And after laying there for about 10 minutes or so, my friend wakes up and he starts trying to talk to me. He's just like, Jay, where are we?" And like, I don't know what happened to me at this point. Like, I started speaking gibberish, right? And my friend, he's confused as hell. He doesn't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what the hell is going on. He's like, "Dude, what you're saying, you're speaking in gibberish. You're not even saying real words." But I was convinced that I was speaking words and that he was just tripping too hard and hearing it as gibberish, until I ended up realizing myself that I was speaking gibberish. And once I snapped out of that stupid little state I was in, I was like, "Hey, we should go up to this school that's like right around here, because they have this giant field." And at this time we weren't able to go home at this point. Like, our parents would have been fucking pissed. They'd been like, "What the hell is going on?" They would have known we were tripping. So we just decided to go up to this school. That we had to walk through the forest. We had to walk up this pathway all the way up to the school, and I wanted to hang out in the football field and just kind of lay there and chill, just kind of have a good time. And I'm barely able to walk. I'm like waddling. I'm having that like robo walk, like all the way up. And then we get there, so we're laying in the field, right? And we start to get drowsy again, and the trip is just a lot to handle because of the chlorpheniramine. It's just ruining it for both of us. So we decide to lay down and go to sleep again because we start getting too drowsy again. Now, I have no idea what time it was. It was probably like really early in the morning, like 2 in the morning or so. And Jacob, he wakes up, and this is perfect timing because across the field he sees 2 police cars pulling into the parking lot of the school, and he wakes me up. He's like, Jay, there are cops over there." And they had these bright ass flashlights. They were like spotlights that were like shining all the way across the field. But we're not supposed to be up at the school this late at night, and the spotlights, they aim right at us and they point on us, and the cops, they just start running. We see the lights start bobbing up and down like way faster, so we know they were running towards us. We get up and we're just like, shit. So we get up, we start running, we run through the forest. It's so dark, I'm tripping over a ton of shit, and I lose my friend in the forest, and that's where it got terrifying. And I was tripping balls, and it just made it so much worse. I look behind myself and I see like the cops coming up towards the forest with the flashlights, shining it through, trying to find us, and I'm convinced that my friend is like hidden in a bush or something, but I'm like, screw this, he's gonna get caught. So I just keep on running. And on the other side of the forest, I come out again right by the park. Luckily, the cops didn't chase us all the way through down to the park, because like after you get out of the forest, you gotta run down this like other like staircase through this other like forested area. And coincidentally, and I'm so glad that this happened, it just so happened that I lost my friend. He actually ran down there, and he got there before I did, and I just found him right there at the park. So we decided to go back to the tree that we were at the beginning of the trip. We were just like about to piss our pants, terrified, because tripping and running from the cops, it's just it's scary as shit. And I don't know like why the cops got caught on us, or like how the cops got caught on us. Like, there was no one up at the school to like report anyone like camping out there, and to this day it still trips us out how that ended up happening. But we ended up just fallen back asleep. We were done with the night. We fell back asleep in that little forest by the park, and we wake up next morning feeling fried as shit. And I just think of it as a negative experience, because there were just like things, just a lot of things that just seemed to go wrong that night. But yeah, that's the story of how me and my friend had a bad trip on DXM and had to escape the cops. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I'm going to be uploading trip reports every week, so please subscribe if you're trying to hear more, and peace out.